You have activated a podcast from the Psychon Network.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome to the Retrograde podcast, the show where we take retro games outside a bar and start a fight club with them. My name is Jack Marshall. I'm joined today by Anthony Hobday.
Hello.
Lysanne Fisher.
Hello.
And McFadyen.
Hi.
In today's show, we're going to be discussing the video game Kirby Superstar. But before we do, let's have a brief blurb on the game from our almighty Zeus, our modern day Hermes, chief editor of Psychon.org, Brecky W.K. Thomason.
Kirby Superstar, known as Kirby's Fun Pack in Europe, is a platforming game for the Super Nintendo console. It was released in 1996 and is the fourth game in the Kirby series of games. The game broke the platforming mold by featuring several different chapters with no connecting plot, as opposed to the large unified world found in other platforming games at the time. Kirby himself is a small, pink, spherical creature, occasionally described as a living pink marshmallow, with large red shoes, stubby arms, and trademark pink cheek blushes. His body is soft and flexible, allowing him to contort to various forms. Due to his light body frame, Kirby is also able to float in mid-air by swallowing air and acting as a balloon. Kirby also has the rare ability to be able to swallow enemies whole and adopt their powers, as one does. Kirby Superstar was well received by critics. Among fans, it's considered one of the best Kirby games, as well as one of the platforming highlights of the 32-bit era.
Thanks for that, Brecky. Okay, before we get into how we all are, it's been a little bit while, but we need to say a big thank you to our listener Janosch, who wrote a really nice review from us on iTunes. And if you're listening, please do the same as well, because we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. No, really.
Right, guys. We haven't seen each other for a little while because we had to do scheduling conflicts because of, it was Lysanne.
God.
I asked if it would be possible, and then suddenly all hell broke loose. Like I said, if it's not possible, then we didn't have to move it. No, we had to move this one because Brecky was on holiday last week.
He was on
this
holiday
one's not my
well.
fault. This was Brecky, and then I fit in around it. No, we weren't going to do one next week. The next one's in 2 weeks' time.
The next one is in 2 weeks. This one's been delayed by a week because of Brecky on holiday. Then we've got another one that's been moved. With our fans
we've just moved it 2 weeks later.
Yeah. But then we've got another one.
Don't have a go at me, Jesus.
No, I think Jack's right because I've got blame Lysanne written down on my notes here.
Oh man.
Didn't write down a reason.
We haven't seen each other for about 3 weeks, and how have we all been? Well, we have seen each other, but
something very special happened at the weekend, guys. Jack had a birthday.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
How old are you now, Jack?
36.
26.
36, huh?
Not a day over 24. No, 26. 26. I'm not 37.
Pretty sure you're 37.
26. It was a good night though, wasn't it?
You told me you were 37.
It was lots of fun.
It was mediocre.
Did you believe me if I said, but don't answer that question?
We were definitely in that club at one point.
Yes.
It's not a club, it's a bad pub. It works.
It's not a bad pub.
It's a pub that's trying to be a club. But anyway, we were all very, very sensible. Especially Jack. He was the most sensible out of all of us.
Brought along a bit of Scrabble, did a bit of Scrabble in the bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you brought Scrabble.
No, I didn't really.
Oh, I just imagine you going crazy after I left. Like I just walked out the door and suddenly start dancing about doing cartwheels
crazy
and stuff.
with Scrabble. No, Lysanne's trying to hook at a point that I got very ill in the.
I wasn't going to mention that at all.
I thought you were kind of building up to that. Yeah, I got.
I wasn't.
Bad.
No,
and I don't condone binge drinking. I don't do it often. I'm still a bit ill. It's been 3 days. Kids, don't drink. It's not fun. Honestly.
You don't condone binge drinking now. You did before your
Unless
birthday.
It's your birthday.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my drink got spiked. I think someone did something. I think someone wanted something out of me.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jack. I couldn't resist.
I did actually say that, and looking at Anthony, which is a bit disturbing. He's got no reply.
He's just smiling.
He's on to me.
I feel like in situations like these, saying anything is worse than saying nothing.
But what have you been up to for the last 3 weeks, anyway, Anthony? Have you got anything to share? Anything interesting?
Been writing on my website, obviously, but other than that...
You can plug your website.
No, I'm not going to. I was just hinting at it to make you laugh, Jack. No, not much has been going on. I've been playing some...
What are you on about? The Olympics has been on.
Oh, for me, I mean. I'm not in the Olympics, so...
Aren't you?
No.
Were you not at the Olympics? I saw you in the rowing regatta.
I thought I saw him
I was
rowing
watching the
as
rowing
well.
today. That was crazy. Those guys have crazy back muscles.
Anthony, I think... And I realise that this is on air, but I think you are definitely supple enough to be a gymnast.
Supple's only one part
Right,
of it, James.
okay.
Those guys have crazy muscles as well, and I'm pretty soft.
The reason that that's so funny, the listeners can't see, but James's facial expression as he was saying that to Anthony just looked like he had the cruelest intentions towards Anthony's supple frame. It was interesting.
I call him like a season Lysanne, you know. Can we move on, please?
I think I'd make a good equestrian rider.
Do you mean horse rider?
Yeah.
Why did you say equestrian rider?
He's trying to use fancy
Same
words
thing, fancy
again.
words.
It's a horse
What does
actually an
equestrian?
equestrian?
What does equestrian mean?
No, equestrian describes horsey
the
stuff.
sport.
Horsey stuff, is that the definition?
The
of horsey
Latin
stuff?
for horse is equus, EQWS, and equestrian stuff is things related to horses.
There we go. A little bit of
So the
knowledge.
sport is equestrian.
But yeah, I reckon I'd be quite good in
Yeah.
the dressage. I reckon I could win without a horse. Just strut out like that. Ladies.
Prancer pal.
Just trot round the field.
Brilliant.
James, what have you been up to for the last few weeks? You finished all your exams now? You're on summer holidays?
Just
Sitting around.
Just move on. Just move on, man.
Well, this is a really bad bit of banter,
Just
isn't it? We're all a
move
bit
on.
oh, God.
Banter.
Oh no! Wait, hold on. No, no, move on.
No, all right. Background is over to Lysanne then. Anything with you, Lysanne?
Well, I've been on summer holidays too, and I've been. Yeah, I know you're the only one with a full-time job, Jack. How good does that make you feel?
Damn right.
Yeah, and
Gotta work
I've
those
just
corners.
been so into the Olympics. It's been untrue. It's been quite the obsession, actually, and Pokemon. I put Pokemon Black into my 3DS again, and I've lost most of my life.
Who
Because of it.
is?
Oh no, Jack came round early, so he wanted to have a go on Mario 3D Land on my 3DS.
Okay, I was just double checking.
Yeah.
Fact checking. Who's your
Checking the facts.
favorite Olympic?
Who's my favourite Olympic?
I mean, Olympian.
Do you mean
No.
sport or person?
Olympian?
No, Jack. I mean Olympic.
It's the Olympics. There's more than one.
Who's your favorite?
Do you mean a person or an
No.
event? I don't
Guys,
understand.
I realize
don't
I don't get that
understand.
question.
I
I
don't
realize that the
understand.
accent here is just listen. If you had, I mean, okay, maybe that's too vague. Out of the top 5 Olympics, which guy is your favorite?
Person.
No,
I'm not getting this. Am I being really dim? Is this a joke?
Just let
I
it go,
don't
James. They're
understand.
not going to...
guys, come on, this is a podcast.
I think that half the table's a bit dense. Don't
fine.
worry about
What's
it.
your favorite sport?
Oh, men's gymnastics.
Okay,
Very, very closely tied with the men's swimming.
I'm seeing a common thread here. So men with their tops off, basically.
Gorgeous men with their tops off doing amazing things. Yes,
Doing amazing.
amazing things.
I did enjoy it, not as a pervert, but the women's beach volleyball
Yeah.
was fantastic. No, it
The
was
fact
great.
that you had to preface that with "not as a pervert"
Not as a
means you
pervert.
were sitting there.
It was a really interesting sport. I mean, I turned it on and done the old jokey, it was on, and then I actually got into it and went, this is really good. Go on, girl, get that ball over the net, sort of thing.
Jesus, I'm sorry. Just whenever I say I've enjoyed something or I like something, I'm just going to preface it with a not as a pervert, but I really enjoyed her dress.
Anything. I enjoy driving my car, not as a pervert, just enjoy driving my car, sort of thing. I always say not as a pervert, just to clear that up in case people get confused.
Sometimes
Is that to hide the fact that you are
Probably
a pervert?
am a little bit of a pervert,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Aren't we all? I'll take your silence as a yes.
Hey,
Collective group.
so back to the show.
Do we like computer games?
Let's
Should we
get
talk
on
about
to
those?
Video
what-
games.
What game is it, Anthony?
Kirby Superstar.
Nice. I like that we made a bit out of you just saying the game.
Now that you've...
Although now
Even now that
I've
you've
named
acknowledged it, you've ruined it.
Yeah.
Illusion is
ruined it.
broken.
Okay,
It's like
well,
explaining a joke.
this week we're going to be talking about Kirby Superstar.
Kirby Superstar.
Thank you. There you go. That's even better. Okay, Anthony, you chose this game, but you hadn't actually played it.
No, I explained this a little bit last show.
Yeah.
I wanted to play... Because we're sort of doing a lot of the classics, and I've played most of the classics. I wanted to play a game that I hadn't played as a child so that I could get a new perspective on it. And James was kind enough to recommend Kirby Superstar as one of my choices. And I had been meaning to play Kirby for a while now, so it seemed like a good opportunity.
You say Kirby, do you mean like a Kirby game? Or
Yeah,
this
and I
particular
looked
Kirby
I looked
game?
up the entire series and found out that Superstar was probably the...
It sounds like it is the most loved, although
Best received out of
Kirby's
that.
Dream Land, the original,
Yeah.
gets a lot of praise as well.
Well, that was on the Game Boy, so it's kind of... I didn't want to do a Game Boy game.
Yeah.
They're a bit limited by the hardware.
Okay, but James, you had this game growing up? You loved it?
No, I just heard about it and was like, yeah, he's pinking around, I want to get in on this. And I did, and it was good. So I was like, Anthony, you should get on in this too, my friend, you know?
It's pinking around and you wanted to get in on that, okay?
Yeah.
Surprising how often James says that about things, actually.
Well,
Not as a pervert.
Not as a pervert, but I think around things.
What is happening to us
not
today?
as a pervert, okay. All right, well, let's start with the obvious thing. Let's go around to what we thought of the game. So we've all played Kirby Superstar. So none of us had played it before.
Well,
No.
I played it before, but
You played it
not
before?
originally, not on a SNES.
Okay, so you just came into it when you were like a teenager or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you play it on then? If
I
it's SNES?
just, I looked it up and downloaded it for an emulator.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so you played it recently. What did you think of it? Let's start with James.
I thought that, I don't know, I like the weird spin, the fact that they're sort of billing it as several games in one, whereas I mean realistically it's still the same game, like
Yeah.
in every single one. But I like the fact that you're playing like different episodes with kind of different themes and like slightly different UI elements and stuff. And overall, I think it controls quite well. I like the fact that it's got a good combination of platforming and action, and I really like that you can just eat whoever. Like anyone stepping up in your business, you can just munch them down like an old Twix.
No, Twix. Okay. Bit of sponsorship there for Twix if you're listening. You know, we're
Twix
up
is
for
really
sponsorship.
good, man.
Yeah.
Oh, they might send us free ones for mentioning them.
You enjoy it. You'd give it a good. You think it's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also fond of Twixes.
Also for the Twixes. That's nice. All right, Anthony, what about you? You wanted to play this game this week. It was your choice.
Yeah, right in the middle of my notes here, I've got a sentence that kind of sums it up.
Go on.
I'm quoting this verbatim. Have pretty much no idea what is going on, though having a great time nonetheless. And obviously, as I played it more, I had a better idea of what was going on, but that was my initial impression. It's like, I have no idea, but this is fantastic.
Okay, no, that's cool. Sorry, I thought you were going to go. What do you mean? What do you mean in the middle of your notes? So you got halfway through the game and then stopped and went, I have no idea what's going on.
Well, unsurprisingly, I write a lot of notes as I'm starting to play, because that's when you get the most, new impressions.
Okay, well,
And as you go through further, you add new things to that, like subtleties and things. But
what was your first impression? This is mental. I don't know what's going on.
my first impression was that having the different chapter options, like James said, the mini games with different UI elements and themes,
Right.
is a little daunting. And I compared it in my notes to Super Mario World, which sort of throws you in. It's not a single track, so you can go either way on the map, whatever. But it gives you very little choice to start with. Whereas Kirby's like, what do you want to do? And you're like, a child in the candy shop.
That is a bit daunting. I mean,
Sweet
it
shop.
scared me when it came up. I
Yeah,
was like,
same.
God, what am I going to pick?
I nearly turned it
Same.
off.
Oh dear, I can't handle this choice. But you, so you did you say you enjoyed it in the end, or
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it from the start. I just had no idea what was going on.
I was going to mention that you have so far the games you've chosen. I mean, Gunstar Heroes is the best comparison. You do seem to like your crazy, colourful games.
Yeah, I like when crazy
Like a
things
bit
are happening
mental.
all the time.
Would you say that you're a fan of colours?
Yeah.
What's your favourite colour?
Blue.
Second favourite?
Probably red.
That's good.
You ever played Limbo? You'd hate that.
I own
Limbo
it.
is awesome.
I haven't played
I
it yet.
love
My
Limbo.
backlog on Steam is ludicrous, so I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Ludicrous.
Yeah, like the rapper.
That's ludicrous, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's pronounced roughly the same way, I mean. We can call up Ludacris and find out later.
If he's available, yeah, we'll see. All right, Lysanne, what do you think of the game? And you love platformers.
I do love platformers. However, the platforming element of this, I think I would have enjoyed it more if I owned a controller that plugged into my laptop. Because what I found the most difficult was getting over the controls for my laptop. Because my right hand was doing the directions and then my other hand was trying to do all the buttons, and that's not how my hands work with a Super Nintendo. It's your left hand doing the directionals and your right hand doing all the action buttons.
Anthony's
You should
desperate
get an
to say
Xbox
something.
360 controller, because it works in Windows without any problems.
For what? Why?
A wide one.
If you get a Xbox
what? And it'll
360
work. It'll work
controller
for whatever emulator.
with a
and everything.
USB
Yeah,
lead,
yeah.
not one of the
Oh,
wireless ones.
really?
Yeah, it's
That's what I do.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's what I do as well.
Oh, okay.
Makes that sort of thing really easier.
But yeah,
I do
so I
that.
think I would have enjoyed the game more. The platforming element of it, I did really like, and I thought it was really good. However, I hated the fact that you couldn't jump on the enemies. I know that defeats the point of Kirby, The point of Kirby is that he, as James said, he eats everything and then spits it out as stars. Don't say sucks them down.
He does.
Don't say that.
Well, he doesn't.
Yeah, but just don't. Just do it. He does. He does that. He does that. Just don't say that either.
He spits them out.
Don't say that either.
Don't swallow them down.
No, just don't say things like that.
Oh, he inhales them. That's true. Actually, he does.
Yeah.
He just he inhales. It doesn't suck. I think he just inhales.
If anything, he holds them in his lungs as a vapor.
Well,
Anyway, I didn't like the fact that I died quite a lot because I kept forgetting and jumping on the enemies.
Every game should be Mario.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Mario's what I'm most used to. No, but I did really enjoy it, and
there was no raccoon suit. There was no frogman suit.
oh no, there was no. If you ate particular enemies, then Kirby got a little cap.
At one point, he turned into a motorbike on me.
Oh, that was good.
What the hell?
No, he wasn't a motorbike. He was just a single wheel.
He's just a
wasn't he?
wheel.
Yeah,
What the hell, Kirby? What the hell, man?
But it was a bit too mental for my liking.
Okay.
I love the mental.
Me too.
You loved the mental, yeah.
You said at one
What
point
did you
it turned
think of it,
into...
Jack?
Oh, no,
go on,
Jack
no,
should
go on,
probably
Nancy, go on,
share
make
it.
a point.
Well, you said that at one point it turned into a wheel for you and you thought that was crazy. I'm running along, probably first couple of levels. Right. I come across a sleeping enemy. And I'm in my exploratory phase where I'm like, I like swallowing enemies and finding out what abilities they give me. So I swallow this sleeping enemy, right, and swallow it. I fall asleep in the game.
Brilliant.
Can't do anything. Enemy comes along and damages me. That made me laugh.
That's good.
Why'd they even put that in?
That kind of nicely brings me on to what I thought of the game. And to be honest, this is... I personally didn't enjoy it, but as I've said for previous games, it's not the game itself, it's me personally as a player. In the fact that I would almost go as far as to say that it's not a platforming game, which sounds a bit silly, but it's because, okay, there are platforms, that's the obvious thing, but I've never, ever liked Kirby. I really don't like him as a character. I don't like him as a person. I don't agree with his views. No, but I think... and the reason I don't is his control mechanics of the fact that jumping... You can jump in the game, but it's not really worth it because you can float all the time. So that takes away that kind of element of, like, I would say the thing I enjoy about platforms is precise jumping, avoiding gaps, jumping on blocks and things like that. Well, Kirby doesn't do that. He can float. So
He
that
avoids
element,
gaps. Come on.
well, he does. I know what you mean. No, you can, but it's the fact you've got that safety that you can just hover all the time, which is fine. And then, and to couple with what Anti's saying, his whole kind of mechanics of, he feels much more like a character of like wonder and fantasy. Like you swallow a creature and you see what happens, and you become something else, and you spit out another thing, and your friend comes out, and all that stuff's awesome. But it's more like it's experimental than, I guess, tactical. Does that make sense? I guess.
Yeah.
And that's why I've never really enjoyed a Kirby game, because I don't know. It's a hard one for me to explain. Like, I don't think the level design of a platforming game is suitable to a Kirby game. And my argument I was going to give is the fact that Kirby Epic Yarn, they took away all his abilities, so it is just a platforming game, and I preferred it a lot more for that. But I get that a lot of people love Kirby because of the fact he is a bit crazy, he is a bit mental. You press a button, you go, "Whoa, I'm a tire now. This is mental." But and that's kind of why I had a little bit of a problem playing with it.
I went back and looked at previous Kirby games and later Kirby games, and it seems that Superstar was sort of a departure amongst a much simpler platforming style. Because Superstar has all these like vertical and exploratory levels. If you look at Dreamland, Dreamland 2, those sorts of things, it's a lot more Mario style. It's left to right, enemies coming along the screen, avoiding pitfalls and stuff. And you can still float, obviously, but it's, like you say, it's more experimental. I think Kirby Superstar, to me, seemed like an opportunity for the developers to do whatever they wanted. And put things in that they thought would be cool, but they had very little direction in the design of the game. It seemed more of like a playground to me than a platformer.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
But I really enjoyed that part of it, because I enjoyed the swallowing the enemies, finding out what they do, exploring the levels instead of just getting to the end.
I did enjoy that, but again, this is kind of like we were saying with Pokemon, I'm always just in a thing of trying to complete the game. So once I found an enemy, like I found one guy who was a yo-yo, and I could just hurl a yo-yo out and back, and I found that was very, very powerful and probably the best weapon to have.
Really? I hate the yo-yo guy.
I just found him really handy. Like Andy was saying, when I swallowed, like Andy was hilarious, when he swallowed the guy that was sleeping, that annoyed the hell out of me. I went, what the hell? Like, I didn't do anything wrong. I hit this sleeping guy and now I'm dead. And I used to hate when you eat an enemy and it'll go, no luck. So where did the enemy go? What, I just swallowed him?
Oh yeah, some of them wouldn't give you an ability.
Nothing would happen. But Kirby is really loved. Like, and there is a bit of trivia that Kirby started, let me find out. Kirby was originally named Popopo. P-O-P-O-P-O, and his model was created as a blob placeholder sprite during the development of what would be the first Kirby game, originally titled Twinkle Popopopo, instead of the current Kirby of the Stars, which is the first game apparently, but it says Kirby Dreamland, so I don't know. But yeah, he even started as a placeholder character, which they liked. And in the first game, because it was on the Game Boy, it was green. They didn't even think about making him pink. They just left him as that.
Apparently on the box art he was pink. Yeah, so I guess the Japanese people originally... The developers originally intended him to be pink.
Brilliant.
But yeah, but this thing, and to be honest, even when I was writing the show notes, I had to look up whether it was a man or a girl. Do you guys know what sex Kirby is?
I thought he had no sex. Yeah,
I thought he was a dude.
Yeah, he's a dude. Well, he's not a dude.
I would always say he about Kirby, not
dude.
It.
You make it sound like he's a player.
He's a player.
I don't know. I think that biologically, I'm fairly certain that he's not a dude.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what. I mean, I've got a big note here that just said, "What the hell is Kirby?" I mean, what is he?
I always thought he was like bubblegum.
He's an amorphous blob.
And he'd absorb things and then use things and then he'd spit things out. And I thought of him just like a blob of bubblegum.
One widespread view is that the Kirby adopted his Western name from the Kirby Corporation, a vacuum cleaner manufacturer in America, leading to the belief that the name is play on Kirby's ability to inhale just about anything, like a vacuum. Trivia today for you. Yeah, but I don't know what Kirby is.
People didn't see you wink there, so we're just going to hear you snorting like a pig.
I winked, people. Hold on.
Before he snorted, he winked.
But I think he's a marshmallow.
No, he's Kirby.
You're wrong, Jack.
This is not the age-old debate of like what was Goofy.
If anything,
Goofy was a dog.
No, he wasn't, because Pluto was a dog. We're not getting into this argument.
Goofy was also a dog.
What, could talk and stand upright?
Yeah.
It's
So
Disney.
Pluto was a simple version of Goofy.
Yeah, it's Disney. He also had a best friend who was a talking mouse and a best friend who was a talking duck.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that Goofy wasn't a dog.
Goofy was a dog.
He wasn't a dog.
Goofy was a dog.
Okay, if he wasn't a dog, then what was he?
He was just some mental thing.
He was just some
He was a
mental
dog.
thing.
No, because Pluto
Right,
was a dog.
am I... James, what do you always thought
He was
Goofy was
closer
a
to a
dog?
cow.
Obviously a dog.
Good. Anthony.
Moving on, you've just
Oh, don't be lame!
made me realise, Jack, that I think the Pokemon Ditto was probably based on Kirby.
Wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
It's a pink blob that copies enemies.
Yeah. I always thought Jigglypuff looked a little bit like Kirby.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but-
Jigglypuff looks more like Kirby.
Yeah. But Kirby's a really loved character, though. I mean, just this week or so, the 20th anniversary edition of Kirby, called Kirby's Dream Collection, they're always called Dreams and stuff like that, was released in Japan. It's currently #1 in the Japanese games charts. And that's just a collection of basically some earlier Kirby games.
I would think the dream theme is to account for all the abstract, nonsensical things that occur, and if they say it's a dream, then
Speaking of
people
which-
are more likely to take it on board.
If you look at the ending of Kirby Superstar, it cuts to Kirby in his house asleep. I'm pretty sure that's saying that the whole game was a dream.
Well, if he sleeps, then we know he's got to be kind of a mammal. He's got to be some sort of creature. And he wears shoes, so he's got modesty.
The only mammals sleep.
But he doesn't have modesty because the rest of him's naked.
No amphibians, fish, birds, none of them sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure on that one. I'll Wikipedia
Yeah,
it.
no, I'll trust you on that
And if
one.
Wikipedia's wrong, I'll edit it.
trust
Don't
you.
worry.
But yeah, the whole
wrote
game...
I wrote on Facebook today, which I'm embarrassed at how wrong it was, that someone told me a fact that it's impossible for a son to be shorter than his mother.
Oh, this was funny.
Oh, yeah.
And I got absolutely destroyed. And I looked up and went, why did I even think that was going to be true?
I was embarrassed even to read that.
That was hilarious.
For a second, I
it was
went,
so funny.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah, that's true.
Well, hang on, we should explain why it was funny. It's because the first one of Jack's friends who responded said, well, what about dwarves? And then our other friend
But
Adam then
Yeah,
said...
but Anthony made a point, and I went, that's just
Oh, I
blowing
didn't
my
see Anthony.
world. What was your point, Adam? Anthony?
If you have a male shortest person in the world, then there can never be one because his mother will be shorter than him, if what Jack thinks is
Unless
true.
he murdered her to retain the title.
Yes, once the woman dies, the guy is then the shortest.
Maybe in childbirth.
Yeah.
Because she's quite small, but then he's got to be quite small as well. So
He's...
it's kind of like, it works out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Logistically.
Anyway, Jack was wrong. Move
I
on.
also got convinced that the new Mars rover had eyebrows like Johnny Five. No, like, yeah, they've got these little eyebrows on his camera so they can see, like, emotions to make him look friendlier for kids at school and stuff. I was
Jack-
like, oh, that makes
What
sense.
is it like to be you?
I know, aren't you supposed to get wiser with age?
I live in Kirby's Wonderland. That's what I do. I just live floating
Dreamland.
around. Dreamland.
Anyway, the point that they make at the end of the game is that it's all a dream, which explains why it's a departure from the games either side of its release, because they were much simpler.
I honestly don't. I know, like, okay, so Super Mario is set in a very strange world that we just accept it's mushrooms and stuff and turtles. But Kirby's setting is mental. Like, I don't even know what the theme is. Like, it's just whimsical.
Yeah.
Like, there's a Lucky Charms cereal box over there. It reminds me of that. It's just nuts. It's marshmallow.
It's a dreamland.
Yeah, but I don't dream that stuff. I'd be terrified if I was dreaming King Dedede. And
You need to have some more fun then, Jack.
Ninja marshmallows.
It's 3Ds.
King Dedede.
Oh, is that the dude that you raced?
Yeah,
DDD,
the
yeah.
dark
Which that? Well, let's quickly talk about the mini games because, as James said earlier, it's not a mini game, right? I mean, it was like 4 of the same levels and then 2
they're like
tiny mini
chapters.
games.
They kind of arbitrarily separated the game into various chunks for no particular reason.
Well, did you guys play in co-op, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, James and I did.
Because the food race one, where you race King Dedede,
That's not
like,
co-op.
DDD.
Yeah, that's not
Oh, that's
the
not in
co-op
co-op.
one.
Because I could not do that.
I did it in front of James first time.
It was
Really?
masterful.
Did you
Well-
float a lot?
See, I couldn't find the route through, and I couldn't escape out of it either. I couldn't get out of the level. And
When it starts doing
I
the clouds,
I got up to the clouds, and I had to wait
You can't tell if you can go through them or not.
until the King DDD thingy got.
King Dedede.
Yeah,
D.
I'm sure we're all pronouncing it wrong. It's like Dedade or something.
I had to wait till he got to the final checkpoint anyway, and then the level ended and I lost.
I
Unsurprisingly,
completely sucked it. It was
yeah,
terrible.
no, I didn't enjoy that.
I think the minigames, like all the chapters, allow the developers to explore whatever ideas they wanted easier. If it had been one long world, they would have said, like, why has the game suddenly changed a fourth of the way through? So it's more
No,
of a-
you can have mini games midway
No, I mean,
through
like,
a game. That
the
works.
different storylines and stuff. Like, you're hunting for treasure in one of the sub-chapters.
Oh, I
And
ignored
if they
those
just added that
storylines.
in to the entire game, like one long thing. That
The
would be
treasure
good.
hunt one was awful, by the way.
that was
I
crazy.
did not like that.
To be honest, looking at the list
Got
of
out of
Kirby
that pretty
games,
quickly.
they're all kind of experimental games. Apart from the Dreamland series, you got Kirby 64, then Kirby Tilt and Tumble, which I remember was like a rolling one. There was a golf one of Kirby.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that one was called, but I've got them here. The
Was
amazing
Kirby the golf ball?
Canvas Curse. That was a painting style one.
I played that on my DS.
They all went a little bit, like, they're all nutty. I know the Kirby's Mass Attack was one where you could explode Kirby into loads of little Kirbys, which was a bit mental as well. But they seem always like experimental. It was always like Nintendo's experimental character in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm just guessing completely, but yeah, interesting.
Maybe the people at HAL are very experimental people.
Yeah, and I mean, there are no typically defined boundaries for an amorphous pink floating blob,
No.
so you can pretty much just do whatever the hell.
James is right.
It's not really that difficult.
The suck mechanic is pretty cool though. Like, that is a very, very unique.
The suck mechanic. You enjoyed
No, but
Kirby
it's
sucking.
a very unique thing. It's an awesome thing of experimenting by sucking in an enemy, stealing his powers, and it makes Kirby as much as I don't use him, but in like Super Smash Bros. Games, which is where I'm probably most familiar with playing with Kirby,
Yeah.
makes him an awesome character because he can obviously steal anyone else's, not steal, but he can borrow their abilities and attack them, conquer them. I was going to say, it's like Risk or something.
Conquer your enemies.
Yeah, but he's a very cool character in that way.
What I don't like about that is that when you get an ability and you sort of rely on it, and then you get to a boss and you might lose it because an enemy hits you, suddenly you're just vanilla Kirby. Well, he's not vanilla, is he? I guess he's strawberry Kirby.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're strawberry Kirby and you can't fight the boss because all you've got is little air puffs to blow at him.
Yeah.
That gets annoying because the timing just... If you've got, ninja blades and stuff, it's easy.
No, but the enemies always... The bosses always shot things out at you that you would then inhale and shoot back at them.
Yeah, but I'm really
That's what I
bad
did.
at... Some of them, they'd shoot out enemies
being
that you could
prepared.
get there. Yeah, I'm always bad at reacting to that sort of thing.
Well, I was surprised by the amount of stuff that appeared in the game in Kirby Superstar that I recognised from later games, especially Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Like the tomato with an M on it, I thought that was unique
Well, that's
to
'cause
Super Smash Bros. And I didn't
HAL
realise that was from
developed
Kirby.
Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
The
it
Kirby
was surprising
developers.
how much stuff in Super Smash Bros. Came from Kirby.
I remember when Anthony and I were playing through the game in co-op, and one of the iconic Kirby themes came on, and Anthony insisted that it wasn't from Kirby, and that it must have been used from somewhere else. But it was from Kirby.
Yeah,
It was.
I watched other
It's from Kirby.
gameplay videos from Kirby games,
from
and that's
Kirby.
the theme tune for Kirby.
Kirby, yeah.
Yeah. And I must have heard it so many times in Smash Brothers that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
assumed
I
it was a Smash Brothers song.
Didn't really notice the music in Kirby when I was playing. Like, it was kind of a bit wild, a bit wacky.
It's good.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, no, I didn't even notice the music. I'm just trying to think what it was like. But yeah,
No, the music,
it was like that, clearly.
The music was as crazy as the situation that Kirby was currently in.
That's a very good point, actually. Mirrors his madness.
It does. And yeah, it was nice. I liked it when, I didn't like it when I got game over, but when I did get game over, it was quite nice that there was this lovely animation where Kirby went to sleep and this little hand picked him up and put him in the crescent moon, and then got a little blanket and tucked him in, and the music. Oh, it was all very sweet.
Kirby Epic Yarn. There's a bit like this, like an ice level. You could fall asleep playing it. It's like, oh, this is lovely. This is awesome. I was going to make a point. I was going to try Bamboozle James with.
Well, yeah.
Because you said last week you're quite interested. One of the most important things for you in a game is a story. But Kirby doesn't really have a story. It's just, like I say, mental. It's just him. I don't even know.
Each of the little game bits has a little story. Like Kirby's got to find treasure. Kirby's got to beat this guy. Kirby's got to save the kingdom.
Enough of a story for you. That's enough incentive, enough twists, enough plot
for
dynamics.
Me personally, a good story is also interchangeable with a good atmosphere, and Kirby has a pretty specific, solid atmosphere. It's still very whimsical and very fantastical. It does what it needs to do. So I think that the actual narrative doesn't have to be sort of linear. It doesn't have to make much sense. It's still, you've got an atmosphere there. There's a very specific vibe. You know, when you play Kirby, you know what you're playing. It may be crazy, it may go in so many different directions, but it's still, like, it's got personality, it's got character, it's got charm, which is the important thing.
No, it's valid. No, it's good. No,
yeah.
Do you reckon they could relaunch Kirby like they done with the recent Spider-Man film, make it a bit hard-ass?
Well, they actually, for the American audiences, and sorry, Anthony, because I remember you said you wanted to mention this, but I'm doing it first. Because that's who I am. For the American audiences, they took the Japanese box art of Kirby and they gave him angry eyebrows in every single one for, like, no reason whatsoever.
I'd like to expand on that.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Because James has only touched the surface.
He did it so well.
Yeah.
He did it so well.
No, he's only just briefly scratched the surface.
Go on, then.
No, I'd like to hear James say more about it, actually.
Yeah, well, guys.
Tell me more about the angry
James
eyes.
won't be able to
really
explore
angry.
this like I will.
So angry.
I don't care. It's just James's voice, you know.
Yeah, guys. No, what were you going to say?
Could you do it in like
Yeah,
Scottish,
go on, Anthony.
Scottish
Go on.
accent?
Do a Scottish accent.
No.
Oh, he was about to. He was
so
just about to.
I realise that not doing it would leave you all wanting more, whereas doing it would disappoint every single one of you. My general point is, and the box art thing ties into this, is that Kirby is a badass, and you wouldn't expect that from an amorphous pink blob. Okay, a pink blob looks pretty harmless, but except for in the film The Blob, it's deadly in that. It's terrifying.
Ghostbusters as well too, part 2.
Yeah,
River of
blobs.
Pink
Oh, what, the slime?
If you think
Yeah.
about it, blobs are actually quite badass all over. I mean, you don't often see a blob and be like, I like that.
They were friendly in Flubber, technically.
They're really
they go out
bouncy.
of control.
They're
Looks a bit
bouncy,
weird,
some
though.
might say.
Yeah, they cause a lot of havoc for Eddie Murphy.
In Flubber?
Flubber.
Surely you mean Robin Williams.
Oh, what am I thinking of with Eddie Murphy and the
Beverly Hill Cop.
the blob of... Yeah.
The Flubber scene in Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Are you thinking of The Nutty Professor?
No, there's a film with Eddie Murphy where he has like a green... No, something goes into him. Maybe I'm thinking of the one where he's like... goes thin and then fat again.
He's got what?
The Nutty Professor.
Yeah, The Nutty Professor. I
No.
did just say that, didn't I?
I'm sure there's one where there's...
Doolittle.
No, I'm sure there's one with Eddie
The
Murphy
Nutty
where there's things
Professor.
bouncing around a
Oh,
lamp.
Bowfinger.
Is that Robin Williams?
Bowfinger.
No, I'm probably thinking of Robin Williams.
Dave,
Don't know how I got them mixed up. They look so similar. Okay, so Kirby is a badass, and you wouldn't expect it from looking at him because he looks quite nice.
Is he a badass?
Yeah, let me finish.
All right, go on.
No.
He does a lot of crazy stuff in this game. He's killing people all over the place. He's a complete badass. He gets blades. He turns into a ninja. He doesn't take any prisoners, right? And with the amount of things he kills and everything, and like when you look at his face and stuff in the game, he gets angry when he does stuff. And that's why I think the Americans had it right by making his box art look angry, because the Japanese made him look cute, but he wasn't a cute person. He's killing people all over the place.
I agree with you, but I think it's just purely a complete marketing thing. Japan love their cutesy. They love their Hello Kittens. Where America like Rambo and stuff like that.
But if you play the game, you realise that Kirby's doing
Sweeping
stuff.
generalisations.
I know, that really was.
They're just so racist. No, sorry. I was going to say, my point was that I hadn't made a point. My point was going to be, what's it all for? Like
What?
he's
What?
angry.
Life in right.
No, not
Life in general.
Later,
It's
though.
because they were worried that by putting out a pink character that boys wouldn't want to play
No,
because
no,
they'd
I
see it
know,
and
no,
say that
yeah.
they put angry eyebrows on him
Yeah.
and they make him into angry Kirby, and then everyone wants to play them.
I meant sort of more the wanton violence and destruction that Kirby incurs wherever he may tread.
Well, it's all a dream, so he just dreams
Why is
about
he,
one
why is
time
he having
violence.
such violent dreams then?
Maybe he had a bad upbringing, James. Did you ever think about that?
Did he have parents?
I don't know.
Maybe that's...
Maybe he was maybe it was a Batman
yeah.
thing, and they were merged in front of him, and now he's on a villainous
Maybe
rampage.
he actually had normal parents and they gave birth to this weird freakish looking blob.
And they didn't want him, and they put him to sleep.
abandoned him.
No, I think
Yeah.
I smell a reboot. That's what I'm talking about.
I think it's safe to say that
Kirby begins.
Yeah.
Kirby's parents
The Pink
merged
Knight.
into one, and they became Kirby.
So he is his parents. He's just...
That's how amorphous blobs mate.
Are we saying he's asexual, Kirby?
No, he's definitely a dude.
But he's not.
You wouldn't say it about
No,
Kirby.
no,
you'd say he.
asexual is talking about sexual preference.
All right, yeah.
What am I thinking of?
Hermaphrodite.
No, that's
hermaphrodite.
what-
No, when it's what happens in
Oh,
Jurassic
okay.
Park when the dinosaurs all had they were like how's life going to find a way, and he says all the dinosaurs are
Yeah, no,
female, but they can
they
reproduce.
they changed their
There's
genetic
There's
structure.
a term for that. It's not hermaphrodite. It's when you've got both. That's when you've got both sexual organs, right?
I don't know. Yeah, hermaphrodite's when
I
you
think
got both.
asexual might be it as well.
Is
Asexual
it?
is when you've got no sexual drive. I think. Is
No,
asexual.
that is used like psychologically, but I think physically.
Oh, it's
If
the
you've got-
same.
If
Oh,
you've got
okay.
any genetic doctors out there or anything, write in and tell us.
Do you mean-
Genetic doctor-
do you mean geneticists?
Is that the thing?
Yes. Say
Write
it.
in and leave
Say
it.
Geneticists. I can't even say that.
Leave it in your review on iTunes.
Geneticist.
Right at the end there. And by the way, 5 stars. And by the way, asexual means this.
It's got to be amazing if one did actually write in and go, actually, I'll confirm that for you.
Well, they're not going to now. You've just done a really insulting geek voice.
That was my normal voice. I was just speaking normally.
Whoa.
Normally,
Is this your cool voice now then?
Normally I cheat like this a lot, yeah. Sure.
Oh,
I've
do you
got,
talk like that?
I've got an example of the badassery just to cement it, because my theory's right.
Back onto Kirby.
is it violence?
Yeah, that every
All
Kirby.
about Kirby, all right.
There's a mini game called Megaton Punch, where you have to get the timing right and then you punch through the blocks. They're on that star-shaped planet that it zooms out to.
Yeah.
When you punch it hard enough, it puts a crack through the entire planet. They wouldn't put that in a cutesy, everyone love each other game. They put it in a badass game.
And do you notice that Mario and Luigi were in the crowd?
Yes,
watching?
I did.
And to be honest, if I was in that crowd, I'd be like, don't break the earth. We're on this. I've got to get home. My house is over there. It's going to be, in a minute, it's going to be a giant crater if you crack it in half. Kirby, you git. Do you know what I mean? It did annoy me. The other game, I guess there were 8 mini games. The other game, which is the ninja one, I don't know if it's because back in the day that counts as a mini game. To me, that's not even a mini game. It was just press the button as fast as you can. If you do, you win. That's like WarioWare had hundreds of mini games.
Yeah.
Some of those are more developed than that mini game. So I was like, oh dear. I would have. If they said eight mini games on the box, it really wasn't. It wasn't. I wouldn't call it a mini game. It was just a non-linear platformer.
The more I think about it, the more I get the distinct impression that what they had before they decided to make the game, just various mini games, was a collection of levels and mechanics that didn't really make very much sense when put together, so they kind of branded it under the moniker of, Kirby minigames or whatever, just as kind of an easy way to put them all in the same package.
But it's one of the most popular Kirby games as well, so maybe that kind of style of a bit crazy matches the person who would enjoy a Kirby game, I guess.
Well, it's more for party gaming, casual gaming, isn't it? It's not for you. I didn't get the impression that it's for you to sit there and work at for hours to try and achieve. It's to do for casual gamers and for when you've got a few mates around, you put the co-op on and you can do all that and stuff.
Short
But,
bursts.
Yeah, it's not.
controlled
It's not a
bursts.
long-term game.
How was the game in co-op, you two? Because you two play co-op together, but you don't often get along very well when you play co-op.
It was... whoa there.
Oh, Gunstar, he
What?
was chucking you. Were chucking
He was
him around.
flinging you around.
That's
Angry
true.
Gunstar. And
Was
Didn't Donkey Kong
were you
went...
abusing me?
It wasn't abuse. We were flinging each other around
No,
with the best intentions.
youth.
And Donkey
you
Kong,
me.
Anthony barely got to go because you were just hogging a controller pretty much.
I'm quite good. No, it was fairly... It was profoundly acceptable, I think.
Who does
wasn't it?
two-player play as? Is that Meta Knight or whatever it's called?
No,
No, the second player takes the helper's role.
Oh, so the first player has to swallow a person and turn
Yeah.
them into
Yeah.
a creature.
But you can do that immediately.
I didn't discover that until I was about second level in, to be honest. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
right.
didn't. I pressed the button, it happened. I was like, this is awesome. And then the helpers sort of made it super easy, because the first 3 bosses,
Yeah.
I had the power, my helper had a power, we were both like ninjas or something. We just took care of the bosses straight away.
the game, I would say, is actually fairly easy. The weird thing about it is, to be honest, if you take your time, the game's very easy. Just take it slowly, don't go crazy. You'll be all right.
That's true.
It's like safety advice.
But what I noticed,
don't rush.
For like a cutesy platform game, well, not cutesy as I've said, but a cutesy looking platform
Well, it
game,
is cutesy.
it seems like they have they're going for a broad appeal, but the mechanics of the game are quite difficult to get into at first.
Yeah.
You have to like read up on them, and they've got the whole
Yes, you do.
the play style tutorial at the start that explains every single game.
Which was I was surprised with. I was surprised how not in depth it was, but just how they pushed it on you to go like,
It's a lot to take
is this
in.
the first time you played? Which I always go, no.
I laugh when it was like a play,
You
and they're all
fool.
You're trying to impress the computer game.
I do. Don't tease me. But that was really impressive. You don't see that in many games, especially like old games. They just let you throw you straight in normally into the deep
Well, they
end.
wouldn't be able
Like
to,
Transport
because
Tycoon.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn in Kirby that they wouldn't have been able to just throw you in.
If they had thrown you in, there's no way anyone would have played that because it would have been far too mental for anyone to try and get the hang of straight away.
I kept trying to do his thing where he turns into a weight and slams down really hard onto the floor. That he turns into a rock, which is in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
He didn't do that in this game, I don't think.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
There's a
I
power
couldn't
you
get.
can
The enemies weren't very common, just like the sleeping ones.
Because he had the move where you kind of press a button and he'll like squash himself.
Oh
and
no,
shoot
you have to
stars
swallow.
out.
You have to swallow a stone enemy,
Oh,
and that's
why.
the ability. Yeah.
See the levels to this game. I mean, that's the thing, and that's what I was saying earlier. It is, I think, a very it's an experimental game for me personally. That's what it was.
Before James and I realised that you could press start and it would tell you what your current abilities let you do, we went on game FAQs, looked up a guide,
Cheaters.
not a walkthrough, a guide for the different abilities you can do,
Right.
and like you get these wisps that fire laser beams, and they just float in the air. They're like flames, and they've got some pretty in-depth abilities.
Wow.
Like, you can charge up your shots, and you can do all this stuff that you wouldn't discover just by messing around with the
That
controls.
guy was crazy, actually, because his power is like you press different directions and he gets charges, and at different
Yeah.
levels of charges he has like different abilities and
Oh,
stuff.
see, I didn't get that at all. I turned into a tire at one point. I
Yeah,
turned
I
into
remember
like,
you mentioning that.
I turned
one,
into Zelda, I think.
No,
Like,
you
I
didn't.
turned into like a green cap elf thing.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Into Zelda.
Oh, into Link, I mean, sorry. Oh, the biggest geek
On a
mistake to
retro
make.
games podcast.
I know, that is pretty bad.
I saw a picture on.
Wait, doesn't this mean that Jack's now sacked?
Yeah, get out.
I saw a picture on Reddit recently.
No,
that
he's
said,
got the equipment, we can't.
Oh, no, stay here.
Oh, I have, yeah.
Picture on Reddit recently had a picture of Link, or a girl dressed as Link. And it
Yeah.
said, "Imagine if Zelda was a girl."
Yeah, I go on the internet
to
as
be
well.
honest,
I
I
saw
don't-
that.
too.
does that actually annoy you guys when people do that? That doesn't bother me. I just go,
I'm really pissed off.
But it's like assuming that. It's like assuming that Samus.
climb across the table and punch you in the face. Like, ah!
It's like assuming that Samus Aran is a dude, which a lot of people do because she's a bounty hunter from
She's a
Metroid.
famously male-dominated profession.
Yeah,
Space bounty hunting, especially.
yeah. Not a lot of female space bounty hunters.
See,
I
like,
assume.
space, though.
I've met many.
Again, if you're out there, email us in. It's great.
Leave it in the iTunes review. I'm a space bounty hunter and I like this show.
So, out of interest, have any of you guys actually played any of the other Kirby games?
No, I've never played any Kirby game ever.
played-
I've never played a game with Kirby in it, and I've never
See, now-
never played Superstar before.
It's sexism time. I would have thought you would have as a female. I know it sounds a really bad thing to say, but
It is a really bad thing to say,
I
Jack.
would have thought it would appeal to a female gamer growing up, especially a lot more. Like you had a SNES growing up.
Yep.
I would have thought Kirby would have been a game that would have been interested to you.
Nah.
No, fair enough. So that's not.
Really, like you're on fire today, Jack. I'm also gonna preface a lot of the stuff I say with "it's sexism time." That is brilliant.
Well, at least if I admit I'm going to be it doesn't make it offensive. I'm going to get racist now, guys. Sort of.
Yeah,
It's
Jack,
all right then.
no
It's
offence,
okay.
but your face. See, it works. He's
that
right,
is
guys,
fake.
he's right.
She didn't actually want to offend him, so she's not.
No,
gonna
I
tell.
didn't actually want to offend, so I didn't say it. But, it's that's what always one thing that really annoys me when people say, oh, no offence. And then it's like, but you've just been offensive.
No offense, but I hate you.
Well, I got.
He looked at Jack.
I got Kirby's Epic Yarn, and I was playing that, and I remember people would come in and watch me playing it and laugh at me and say, what are you playing that for? It's a children's game. And it does. You can't help but go, no, it's really good. Look, I'm going to turn into a rocket now.
Are these
And
just
they're
people off the street? Like, where
No, but
people
it-
wandering into
randoms,
your-
yeah.
Epic
Stealing
Yarn.
stuff.
Epic Yarn's graphical style looked fantastic.
Yeah, it got really good reviews as well.
But it's very childish. Doesn't make it
Yeah,
wrong.
but
It doesn't
it's
make it
Nintendo.
terrible. But no, but it's very childish. It's like it's like cotton and yarn and knitting and stuff like that.
Only children can knit, apparently. Seamstresses of the world.
No, but even like, although I was about to say Kirby dances stuff, but he dances in this game as well. When he like at the end he goes like, and he spins in the spot. Didn't he split into 3 people?
Yeah, he splits into 3.
See, he's never going to be lonely, Kirby, because he can just make a copy of himself.
That's true. He's got a.
So if you
I wish I could make copies of myself. Yeah, I knew you were going to go that way. If I could, it would just be me, free of me having a podcast, basically. Agreed. And going, yep, I agree with you, Jack. Good point.
That wouldn't be
What do you think,
entertaining.
Jack? I'm not going to. Which one of us are you talking to?
I'd be the original copy, so I'd be Jack, and they'd be Jack 2 and Jack 3. I'd probably get like a UV.
What if Jack 3 got jealous and killed Jack 2?
Yeah, they'd fight for 2 and 3 the positions. I'm Jack 2. No, I'm Jack 2.
I reckon I'd have myself in a fight.
You would not be able to have yourself in a fight.
I
You'd
really
both
didn't
knock
think you
each
were going
other
to finish
out.
that sentence with in a fight. I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh.
You'd knock each other out at exactly the same time.
Did you guys have anything else you'd like to raise about Kirby?
Yes. I realised, because towards the end, when you go on the Milky Way... Let me just look up the name of it.
Whilst he's looking that up, I shall just quickly say I also played this game longer than I played Gunstar Heroes.
Oh,
I was going to say, actually, similarities between this game and Gunstar Heroes.
That's
That's
what I was
surprisingly
gonna
quite
make a point about.
common.
Milky Way Wishes, towards the end, you do a shoot-'em-up level.
Oh, Milky Way Wishes. That's a lovely name.
Well, that's like the final story mode, I guess. But you do a shoot-'em-up level towards the end, and that reminded me of Gunstar, and then I realised that in Gunstar, each stage has all these like gimmicks and stuff. This game is similar in that it has gimmicks in each chapter or mode.
And you were saying the depth of the weapons and the mechanics you can use very similar to Gunstar.
Yeah, it's even deeper than
it did
Gunstar
remind
Heroes,
me.
which
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect.
It did
from a game
remind me of
looking
Gunstar
this
Heroes.
cute. And a lot of awesome stuff happens. It blasts awesome in your face, just like Gunstar Heroes.
Well, you said Gunstar Heroes blasted happy in your face.
Oh, yeah.
Get it
But
right.
well, no,
All
that's-
over
that's-
your
that's
face,
fine.
wasn't it?
Awesome,
You had to
awesome
wipe
in
it
your
off with a
faces.
tissue.
That
Awesome
goes
in your-
beyond
yeah.
innuendo at a certain point,
Yeah,
Lysanne.
that's
It
just
just...
drawing a
What? I'm talking about
That's
happiness.
just painting a picture.
Why would you want to wipe happiness off? Come on, Lysanne.
rub it in.
Anyway,
That's worse.
that brings us very nicely. And as Anthony, was there anything else you would like to say about the game? I mean, you picked it this week. Do you feel angry you picked it, or are you quite happy? You're quite content you played it now? You're like, yeah, I'm happy with this game.
I'm glad. I like
You
Kirby
wiped the
now.
awesome off your face, and now you're happy.
I like how much crazy there is in this game. I love crazy games. I love Kirby. But the one last point I wanted to make was another reference it makes in the game. Partway through the cave... Let me just check. Great Cave Offensive. There's a section James and I were playing where it emulates like a PC RPG.
Oh, I see.
And we're talking,
yeah.
Windows 3.1 style
Oh, that's
PC.
awesome.
I
didn't
still
get to
maintain that was
point.
Final Fantasy. It looked like Final
No, because it had like the windows with the resize controls and everything, and it was very similar to
I
like
think that
a...
was just an elaborate decoration. around
It was
the
very
border.
similar to like a roguelike dungeon crawler from the early PC era, because they had separate windows. And I thought that was crazy that a console game was referencing a PC so closely. Especially in Japan, where PC gaming isn't as big as in the West.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I thought that was quite a neat reference.
Happened in some games. I always remember in Toy Story there's a bit where it goes into a first-person shooter almost, where you're trying to get all the dolls out of the crane machine, which I always remember was like awesome. It's like, this is incredible. But yeah, it happens a little bit. But no, that is quite cool. I didn't actually get to that point, because by the time I got to the 4th story mission, I was like, these aren't many games.
Great Cave Offensive was with the treasure hunting and got a bit boring.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough. Okay, let's wrap up now with the retrograde part of the show. So, Anthony, you chose this. So, what is the scoring scheme that we are doing? I'm pretty sure you prepared this weeks ago, so you've had so much time to think about it. You've had 3 weeks to think of scoring schemes. So,
Yeah, it'd be ridiculous if you didn't have anything
it'd be
right now.
absolutely insane if you hadn't come up with something.
I bet this is going to be amazing.
Don't let us down.
Okay, well, after that, I have to rethink my... No. My scoring system is going to be you have to grade it as a type of cloud, because there's a lot of clouds in this game. Kirby shoots
Come
clouds
on.
out
I
of his
don't
mouth.
know different types of clouds.
That's why I chose it, because this should be fun.
But I don't know. I know.
No,
I know
listen.
you can get a Nimbus.
You know-
because
yes,
that's,
that was the only one I
because
know.
No, you
that's Harry
don't have
Potter.
to. You don't have
right.
to name a specific cloud type scientifically. You
So
can just describe the
cloud
type of
I've
cloud.
seen once.
Yeah, you can describe the type of cloud.
Okay, my cloud looks like the number 6, because it's a 6 out of 10 for me.
I'm not saying clouds that look like things, Jack. I'm saying the different types of clouds as you've seen them in the sky.
Okay, Mike. If I've not seen this one in the sky, but if I was compared to game, it would be like a thunderstorm rainbow cloud, where
Okay.
it's fun and exciting and stuff. But you're going to get struck by lightning a few times playing it, because you've got to learn about the game.
My cloud would be one of those, you know, when it's a clear blue sky, but you get those few streaks of clouds going through it. Just because
yes,
James knows about that.
he shouts at those clouds.
It's beautiful weather up in Scotland, didn't you know? The reason I chose that is because the game is quite misty and whimsical and bright, and you know, I've always seen clouds as a negative thing because they bring rain and get rid of the sun. But so not a very strong cloud at all, just a very wispy one. There we go.
James?
Well, I was thinking about not this grading system, the thing I'm about to mention earlier today, and I think it's going to look quite intelligent if I mention it, so I'm going to. I think that if this game were a cloud, it would be those clouds of interstellar gas called the Pillars of Creation, because this game is quite ethereal, it's quite astral, it's very dreamlike, it's also very colourful, which they are, and it is most magnificent. Yeah. So
Jack,
I think...
how many words that James said did you understand?
I lost him at me. That was
Sorry to interrupt, James, carry on.
8 out of 10.
I thought we went 8 out of 10 at the end. So the clouds of creations for you are 8 out of 10. So you're like, yeah, all right.
It's a cloud that looks like 8 out of 10.
I've seen some good clouds.
So hey, that cloud looks like a bunny rabbit. That cloud looks like 8 out of 10.
That's your answer?
No. That's just what James is saying.
Okay. Well, that's not what he said at all.
Right at the end, he said 8 out of 10, so I was relating to a cloud.
Oh, okay.
It's a cloud that looks like 8 out of 10.
Go on. Oh, God.
What would you give
Maybe
it?
it's a pie chart or something that's 8 out of 10ths full. I don't know, Jack.
4/5.
4/5 as well, yeah, that's... Okay,
We're not on drugs, by the way, on this show, okay? We're completely normal people. I don't know where this has gone. I've lost this show.
I don't know, after playing
I don't know what
Kirby.
direction we've gone in for this show. This is awful.
Nor do the people who are developing Kirby, so that fits in nicely.
Hey!
And anyone who talks about clouds this long sounds like they're on drugs, so you don't have to worry, Jack.
So what cloud are you grading it as?
I'm going to choose
Anthony?
those clouds that they're kind of...
He's doing stuff with his hands.
Oh, God.
He's gesturing.
You don't have to see my hands, listeners, to understand what I'm saying. Those clouds that when the sun is setting, the sun goes below the cloud and lights them up from beneath. Because they're really fun to look at. And so is Kirby. Kirby's just fun to watch things happening. You don't play it to get to the end, you play it to do fun stuff in the level. And then when it ends, it's like, next level, I want to swallow more enemies and find out what they can give me.
What's the name for a person who studies clouds?
Cloudologist.
Climatologist, maybe?
You can't just put the word of what it is they study and put ologist.
It might be climatologists, but there might be a subset of climatologists
Again,
that
if any of those are listening, they're going to be going mental now and going, oh, God, I couldn't name one cloud.
You can
Well,
respond
no, we
to
can
us.
only name Nimbus, which I don't think is a cloud on its own anyway.
Cumulus? Is
And,
Oh, yeah, Cumulus
Cirrus,
as well.
Cirrus, I think.
Severus as well, it's another cloud.
Severus.
Stop doing Harry Potter.
Sirius.
Sirius. Voldemort. It's a good cloud.
I hate Voldemort clouds.
Yeah, we shouldn't have said that name now. They're going to appear all over the place. Anyway,
Kill your parents.
so that averages out as to, I don't even know what that averages
7
out
out of
to.
10.
Cloud.
I've worked it out.
7 out of 10. It averages out to a nice sunny cloud.
It's more of a 6.
Yeah.
A sunny cloud.
No, well, in summary, we all enjoyed the game. Some of us a bit more than others, but none of us hated it, which was interesting.
No.
I think it's the first
No,
game
I
when
didn't
not one
hate
of us
it.
actually hated it.
Oh, this is
I
getting
wasn't
really abstract.
blown away by it though.
When we first came up with the concept of different grading schemes, it sounded like a really good idea, but at this point it's getting so confusing.
Well,
I have no idea what
also-
Well, no, it's the rest of them were quite tangible. Anthony's wasn't, but
clouds aren't tangible either. So that makes
Clouds aren't
sense.
Oh my god, this episode's becoming
works
so
on
meta.
many
It's
levels.
untrue.
First of all, I'd argue that clouds are tangible because they're made of a solid object. They're just very sparse. And also, I'd say that I chose my cloud
That
because
means wide apart, Jack.
Thank you.
my cloud works because they look really thick. They're thick clouds, and the game is quite hard to understand the mechanics. So it's quite in depth, like a thick cloud. So. Just another point.
I didn't research clouds for the podcast, to be honest.
You should have warned
Next
us,
week on
man.
the cloud.
No, but the whole
podcast.
point is that we're surprised.
Half my notes are about clouds. I prepared for this one.
He's just got pictures of clouds drawn on his notepad. That's
Yeah, I
it.
say notes.
fine.
They're actually just
It's fine.
sketches.
Okay, we'll end up the show there. That was a good cloudy episode, that one. You can find us on Twitter at Retrograde Show. You can email us whenever at retrograde@psychon.org. You can also follow us and like us on Facebook. Just search for Retrograde and obviously like us, which is good. We will be back in 2 weeks with Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo.
Why are you saying it like that? Is it just because it's my game?
Who chose this game?
I just said.
The only reason I say it like that is because there is nothing bad you can say about this game.
Anthony will.
I'm sure you'll try.
What is left
and
to
you
be
will.
said about this game?
It's sort of the titan of the gaming industry.
I won't have you saying anything bad about this game. This is the Citizen Kane of video games.
Citizen Kane is overrated.
Well, okay. Well, it's something that you really like.
Super Mario World.
Exactly. So,
Super Mario World is the Super Mario World of games.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
But we'll save that. I know Anthony's already brimming. He wants to go.
No, it is sort of the Goliath of the video game industry, but there's always a David just waiting to sling his stone.
David, are you?
Super Meat Boy. What?
Yeah, I'll be the David next episode. I'll sling my stone at the Goliath's head and knock him
in
out.
this case, is Lysanne who's chosen the game, so that'll be fun.
No, Goliath.
Oh,
is
another
Super Mario
Lysanne
World.
bashing
I'm not gonna-
episode. That'll be a change.
I'm not going to attack Lysanne.
I'm not gonna. I'm on your side for this one. Anyway,
Oh, good.
So in 2 weeks' time we'll be doing Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. So make sure if you haven't already, play that game before then. And that's a goodbye from me, Jack Marshall. A goodbye from Anthony Hobday.
Goodbye.
A goodbye from James McFadyen.
No, really, please like us.
And a goodbye from Lysanne Fisher.
Bye.
I'm not kidding.